This one shouldn't be a surprise, but often can be taken for granted, and everyone thinks that they're really good at it, but they're not. And that is welcome back to Top Takes by Enjoy the Collective, the segment where we break down hot topics within the independent creative, freelance, creative business, creative entrepreneur community. And you're with me, Marseille, design educator and independent creative. Today's top take is the hidden hacks that nobody tells you about working for yourself. So in a recent episode, award-winning author-illustrator Dapo shared the hidden skills that have helped him to become a successful creative. And it got me thinking of some of the hidden skills that I have had to garner over the 10 plus years that I have been working for myself. So I've actually recorded this episode in 2 parts because I really wanted it to be a lot more practical for you guys. So mind your business if you see any changes like the background and how I look. So one that he touched on was project management. Often underrated, but if you work for yourself, it's one you need to get good at to deliver projects on time, in budget, and to your client's satisfaction. This becomes key when you are balancing multiple creative projects and clients at the same time. And I promise you, if you're working for yourself, you're not just working on one project at a time. Project management is a core skill, especially if you like to work collaboratively with your clients and with others. It allows everyone to be on the same page and know exactly what is expected, what they're doing, and when. It helps you to build trust with others and to deliver your projects in scope efficiently and effectively. So some practical tips to help you improve your project management skills. I would advise dividing larger projects into smaller, manageable tasks with clear deadlines. 2, you can use project management tools like Notion, which I mentioned in a previous episode. Notion, Trello, and Buffer are digital tools that I use to help me manage projects, as well as a good old-fashioned pen-to-paper planner, which I also mentioned in a previous episode. And finally, setting realistic timelines. So the key here is to recognize how long things generally take you to complete. Add in some buffer time for anything that is unexpected, whether on your end or the client's end. Okay, networking. So I do actually hate that word. I just feel like it feels so impersonal and corporate. So let's scratch that. Yeah, let's scratch that. Let's replace networking with community. Community is so important. I've said it so many times and I can't say it enough. But having a good, strong community around you will open up new opportunities for you. I promise you. A lot of the work that I have gotten over the years have been through recommendation and through word of mouth and through clients referring me on or clients wanting to work with me again. Building a network can sound intimidating when you think about it in the corporate sense, going to these events that you don't want to be at, to speak to people that don't really understand what you do and who you are. But community, on the other hand, that is like this. That is like-minded. That is on the same page, kin to kin. Well, you would hope. Building community is really about fostering relationships over genuine connection. And I have fostered these relationships in many different environments, from previous work, from university, even at industry events. I've now got my creative girlies that I meet up with every time I'm in London. So make sure you're attending those industry events. And I said this before, you don't have to be in every single room at every single event. Something I'm learning now in my 30s as an introvert, someone who's been in the industry for a minute, is I don't have to be in all the rooms. I can actually be selective about the rooms that I'm in. And I've started to attend events that are specific to Black creatives, freelance creatives, and spaces for diverse creatives. Honestly, that had changed my networking experience completely, to the point where I no longer view it as networking, but building genuine relationships. So find your people, find your spaces. You can also join online communities if you're not about the rah-rah and getting outside and dealing with the traffic and the transportation. Joining online communities allows you to connect with creatives all over the world. And I can't think of anything better than that. So if you are looking for a community to join, you don't have to look too far, because Enjoy the Collective has a growing community. You can join our newsletter, link below, to connect with other like-minded creatives. This year, we are gearing up towards hosting more online meetups that are regular so that we can connect, we can chat, we can share advice and support one another better. This one shouldn't be a surprise, but often can be taken for granted, and everyone thinks that they're really good at it, but they're not. And that is communication. Clear, concise communication, and not just verbal, but also written communication. Making sure that you communicate effectively with clients, teams, whoever you're collaborating with or working with is so essential. I can't express how many times miscommunication can be easily avoided if things were documented. So whether you're in a meeting and you're taking notes, or you're following up and you're sharing those notes with the team, with your clients, whatever you have agreed over the phone or via text, which I hope you're not texting your clients, follow up with an email, so there's always a paper trail of that communication, so they have something to refer back to in case any wires do get crossed. Clear communication allows for everyone to be on the same page and for projects to run pretty smoothly. Okay, some useful tips to help improve your written and verbal communication. Top tip is to read more. You don't even have to limit it to books. It can be blog posts, articles, newsletters, any type of content that you prefer to read as long as you are reading. Reading more will help you to improve your vocabulary and also get you familiar with sentence structure, punctuation, and grammar. Number 2, learning from others. So you can sign up to other people's newsletters. I definitely do that. And we also have a newsletter at Enjoy the Collective. But signing up to newsletters helps you to see how people go about telling stories, how people communicate with a larger, wider audience. I have definitely picked up a few tips and tricks from signing up to other people's newsletters. You guys are going to have to bear with me. It's super bright today. So I'm going to be a little bit squinty. Obviously, with advancements in AI, we can be using tools like ChatGPT to help us improve our written communication skills. So I use ChatGPT often, but I find that the most effective way to use it is actually to draft what I want to say first, and then put that in and ask ChatGPT to rewrite it in this particular tone to this particular audience to make them feel this particular way. And number 3, practice writing. The good old-fashioned saying, practice makes perfect, and it often is the case. And this can take many forms depending on what it is that you do day to day, whether you like to journal, whether you have a newsletter, whether you're active on social media. Writing captions is actually a challenge, and the more you do it, the better that you get. I know for myself, writing my newsletter keeps me on my toes. I am definitely out of practice as it pertains to writing. And those Instagram captions really be challenging me because it forces me to be engaging, but also concise. Financial management. It is a must, whether you have an accountant or a financial advisor or not. You have to know what's going on with your finances and have oversight. Ultimately, we've seen so many celebrities, I think Rihanna, Kanye, spoke about how not having oversight over their finances left them in pretty tricky situations with the government, and nobody wants that. Nobody has time for that. So please, I plead with you, get on top of your finances. Whether you need to use existing tools such as QuickBooks, or whether you need to speak more frequently with your accountant, or you don't have an accountant, then I advise you to do so. Make sure that you are budgeting, tracking your invoices, your expenses, and always thinking about financial health and growth. Please don't see this as me telling you off, because it's definitely an area of growth for me, and it's why I'm emphasizing it even more. Having healthy finances is what is going to aid in us having the freedom to live the lives that we so much crave and desire in choosing to work for ourselves. It ensures stability and the viability of it being a long-term career. So what ways can you start to improve managing your finances? Number 1 tip is to get an accountant. If you're not a financial babes or bro, then I recommend an accountant. You want your first year taxes to be correct. If not, it will come back to bite you. One thing I know for sure is people don't forget when you owe them money, including the government. Tip number 2, you want to make sure that you are tracking your ingoings and outgoings, your income and your expenses. So when I first started freelancing, I remember I got in touch with a friend of mine at my church who was an accountant. And I asked him just to help me, what things do I need to be doing to get started? And he set me up with a super basic Excel spreadsheet that documented this information. And I promise you, it is a spreadsheet that I use till this day. My final tip is to make sure that you are setting aside every month a percentage of your income so that you do not have any surprises when tax seasons come. Now, this percentage will vary depending on the country/region that you live in. So I recommend doing the research first, setting that aside monthly. I might actually do a part 2 to this, because we actually did an Instagram live with Mr. Money Jar, who, if you aren't familiar, is one of the best financial advisors right now, who is active on social media and breaks things down in a really digestible way. And he gave some really poignant advice for those of us who work for ourselves to help us better manage our finances. So actually stay tuned for a part 2. A hidden skill that I would recommend that everybody who works for themselves fine-tune is your ability to negotiate. When working for yourself, you need to know how to negotiate rates, project scope, and timelines. Clients can be pushy, companies can be pushy, deadlines can be tight, but you need to be able to assertively, confidently, and diplomatically negotiate for yourself to ensure that you are not being shortchanged, overlooked, and overworked. And assert your authority. This is a business exchange. You're not doing anybody a favor. So make sure you're looking after you. So what are some practical ways that you can improve your negotiation skills? There is an actual art to this, but I would say the main thing is it comes down to confidence and what you think you are worth. So number one tip for negotiation is making sure that your focus is on a win-win solution. It can't all just be about you. The other person also wants to feel like that they've come away with a good deal as well. That way, it makes your working relationship more favorable and more enjoyable. But if they feel like you've got one over on them, they can potentially become more difficult during the actual working process. Number two, go in with a wealth of knowledge and an understanding of what your maximum and minimum is. That way, you are better prepared to negotiate and you are less likely to run into surprises. I think the most important thing with negotiation, which I'm sure you've heard before, is being willing to walk away. And the best way to know when to walk away is after conducting your research and knowing and deciding on your minimum. When that is not met, then the deal is no longer favorable and it's best to walk away. There are definitely resources out there that have amazing advice with regards to the art of negotiation. There are a plethora of books, but for those who want the information a lot more quickly, there are definitely podcasts and TV shows that are a bit more enjoyable, such as The Apprentice. I think in this season, there's actually an amazing negotiation that goes down that Alan Sugar praises a candidate for. So definitely check that out. Dragon's Den, and of course, American version, Shark Tank. One thing that is guaranteed when you're working for yourself is that you will come against problems. Now, I'm not wishing badness on you. I'm just telling it like it is. Like, you are likely to come across issues that are unforeseen and unexpected. That isn't the issue, because that is a given. What you need to get good at is your ability to problem solve and be solution oriented. Now, I know we all want to look professional. We want to look like we got it together and we know what we're doing. But the truth is, problems will come and that can't be avoided. Do not be discouraged. Bounce back quick by being solution oriented. Now, you may not have the answer in the moment, but your job is to assure those you are working with or for, client or team, that you got this, that you will find a solution, that things will work out. We may not know what that is, but that is your job to figure out. Now, like I said, don't worry if you don't have the solution right now. Your ability to think critically, troubleshoot, and find creative solutions is invaluable when working for yourself. Now, piggybacking off the previous skill, being good at research is essential. Whether for client, personal, or professional, it is highly likely that as a creative that you are going to come up against projects that are in industries or topics that you are unfamiliar with. No one is expecting you to know everything, but what the expectation is that you are able to look into, research, and gain a good understanding of the relevant field. Something that isn't spoken about enough is that as creatives specifically, we have to keep abreast of what is going on in contemporary culture. What are some of the prevalent social and political topics that are currently affecting people? We create for people, and so we have to know what's going on with them, what is affecting them, what are they pressed about, what are their pain points, so that we can effectively create solutions to them. Staying abreast of contemporary culture, media references, advancements in technology, knowing what is the best platform, best media, and best format for the outcome. By no means I'm not asking you to be an expert, but just have a general idea of what's going on, what's trending, especially things that are moving the needle, things specifically to do with advancement and innovation. Being an independent creative is not just about honing your creative skills and fine-tuning your craft. You also have to expand into other territories and thinking of yourself as a business. So an essential tool for businesses is marketing. Marketing is made easy when you have a brand. And I would advise you to get familiar with what your brand is. Who are you? What is the type of work you do? And who do you do that work for? Know how to tell your brand story and communicate it to your relevant audience so that you can attract the clients and the projects that you want. I would encourage you to create a strong online presence on the relevant platforms to your customer, your offering, and your service. Maintain an up-to-date portfolio with relevant work, and effectively showcasing your skills in other arenas such as interviews, articles, podcasts, panels. Get out there and talk about yourself. In order to get new work, you have to reach new people. So get out there and confidently speak about what are your core beliefs, who do you create for, and what do you stand for. Be unapologetic and unashamed. I'm sure we've all seen those memes by small businesses saying, meet the team, and it's actually just the same person in every single role, from designer to project manager, founder, art director, sales, marketing, and customer complaints. And the truth is, that is all you, baby. That is really what it is. You are wearing multiple hats when you enter the space of self-employment. And don't let that be scary, because no one is saying you have to be good at every single role all at the same time. No, this is a journey, and so it's progressive. Focus on the roles that you know you can do well now, or the roles that are essential to you getting started and getting out there. Dedicate a portion of time within your week to the other roles that are needed at this present moment, whilst all the while in the back of your mind thinking about working towards how you are going to either subcontract or hire someone to fulfill those roles. But in the meantime, it's you, and you've got this. The final skill that is an important one to hone beyond your creative practice, but in everyday life, is human behavior and people skills. People aren't always going to tell you what exactly they mean or exactly what they want. Sometimes they don't know, and other times they don't know how to articulate it. Where you come in is being good at extracting information, knowing what questions to ask, when to ask them, how to get the information that you actually need in order to do the job that you are being hired for. You can do this through a combination of online forms and questionnaires, phone calls, and in-person meetings, which I highly recommend. That way you're able to pick on the non-verbal cues to understand what it is that they truly want and what they truly mean. I'll give you an example. So my husband runs an events business. He had an inquiry for an event. He had a call with this person, let's call her Monique. So he had a call with Monique. Prior to the call, actually, he had sent her a form for her to fill out that detailed the information that she needed for her event. So guest, date, time, etc. One of the things that we picked up on Monique's form was there was a lot of variables, a lot of brackets. So what date? Oh, between this date and that date. How many guests are you expecting between this number and that number? So on and so forth. And so immediately, one of the things that jumps out is that this person needs support in direction. They don't necessarily have a final fundamental, a finite answer. And so his job is to guide them into that finite answer. And he can do that in a number of ways. Another thing that Monique asked for was she wanted an itemized list of how much everything was going to cost, from the setup, decoration, music, the cost for every individual thing. That suggests that she is someone who is very concerned with cost and where her money is going, and understanding how she's spending her money, whether she has a lot or a little. And there was something else that Monique said in the call, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It suggested to me that she was the kind of person who liked to feel empowered to making a choice and have the final say, which in all honesty, most clients generally want. And so the solution for this was creating packages for her, giving her an option to choose from, helping her understand, in this package, you get this, this, and that for this cost. And in this package, you get this, this, and that for that cost. That way, she's able to understand what the breakdown is. Two, she has the ability to see where she is able to cut costs and control her budget. And thirdly, she is empowered with the choice to choose what she wants. Instead of my husband just giving her a set price without much of a breakdown, a general overview, it would leave her feeling quite frustrated and not allowing her to understand where she's able to take control of the things that she's concerned about. There is a fine balance, because too much choice can be overwhelming. You want to give them choice within a framework, within a structure, and so that it's limited. All of this insight comes with working closely with people frequently. I would also recommend reading books, podcasts, and YouTube content that touch on topics to do with human behavior. When it comes to working with people, it definitely can be a roller coaster, because there's a few things to navigate. But the main thing to know when working with others is to develop your emotional intelligence. being able to read between the lines and understand what people are not saying. Often when you're working with clients, they don't always know what it is that they want, or even how to articulate what it is that they want. And so your job is to be able to develop emotional intelligence and also ask great questions. In your ability to ask good questions, you'll be able to flesh out the information that you need to be able to deliver. So that's my top take on the hidden freelancing skills that nobody ever tells you. Let me know in the comments below which one stood out to you the most. For more freelancing top tips, sign up to the Mailroom, our newsletter, which delivers freelancing tips, advice, musings, and opportunities direct to your inbox. Give us a follow on IG and of course, subscribe to the channel.